have you seen on Twitter these going around talking about how these people who posted like, being white is bad, and then but they're Jewish people, and then recently they posted like, hey, I'm Jewish, and why are you lumping us in with being white?
Like you're saying the same people did that? Like it's
Yeah,
like they
like
had
they
the same.
would post, like,
Yeah, because you're literally
white is-
fucking. Of course, it's because they. I mean, I know the actual explanation for that, and it's that there's a lot of Jews who are super liberal, and just like any other liberals, that was the trendy thing to say for many years. Was just like being white's bad, even if you were white. Like there's no shortage of like Christian white people who also said that. So Jews were like, we're liberals, right? Like everybody tries to be like, oh, it's like a specifically Jewish thing. You're like, no, all liberals, all like, subset of, if you were farther enough out there, like, on the spectrum, we're like, yeah, white people are bad. That's what we're saying right now. That's the thing. And then now they're realizing that that was actually a stupid thing for them to say, like as Jews, I guess, because they're realizing they're like, oh shit. Like we, people see us as
hilarious. With
it's. I mean, look, I'll tell you, nobody is enjoying this more than me. Okay, as a Jewish person, as a whatever you want to categorize me as, white Jewish person, whatever. I'm telling you, nobody is liking this more than me because I was criticizing those liberals. Like I've been criticizing those anti-white people like basically since the beginning of it. Like since it really started happening. I was like, that's stupid, a stupid thing. I mean, my main argument was, I'm like, what is this? Just like revenge? Like the whole thing is essentially the whole crux of the anti-white movement is revenge, right? It's essentially saying like, hey, you were racist towards us. So now we're going to be racist towards you. And you're like, how do you possibly think that that is a good strategy to fix anything?
And it's mentality. It's so dumb.
Well, it's stupid. And, again, like it's legitimately like some sort of like eye for an eye scenario here where you're like, that is a stupid solution. Like you can stop all racism. Like if you want to say, hey, racism's bad, that's fine. But then they were like, no, racism's bad. But also we need like a pound of flesh from the people who are perpetrating the racism up to this point, which was like, well, then you didn't end racism. You just kind of shifted the focus of it. And so a lot of Jews are, I mean, again, partially, I mean, I've said it online, but like partially this was, for my own benefit because I was literally going into, when I was like trying to have a career in acting and stuff. And, they would be like, hey, like, my agent was like, hey, they're not seeing white people right now. He's like, if you weren't a white guy, I heard so many times, like I know Tyler Fisher, who's in that Lady Ballers movie. He's a friend of mine. He sued some like manager because they straight up told him like, hey, you can't get this job because you're a white guy. And like anybody with half a fucking brain is like, that's racist. That's discrimination. Yeah. But for a while, it was like it was so toxic to even, it was such like a third rail thing to even bring it up, especially in entertainment because entertainment's just like so liberal. So people were just like, didn't want to touch it. But, I so many times just were like, yeah, you can't have a career essentially because you're a white guy. And then I was like, well, but I thought, I used to do a joke about it. How I was like, yeah, I just got like demoted or promoted from like Jew to white guy like recently. And this was probably like 8 years ago I was doing this joke, like talking about this. And at the time people were like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like I was so early to this whole thing that people were like, didn't even know what I was saying. And yeah, it's coming home to roost for these people and fucking tough shit, I guess. I will say though, I could be wrong about this. I think there's a chance that this whole Israel and like thing will actually put an end to all this anti-whiteness, because if you do believe that Jews have this outsized power in government and media and stuff, well, then they're now realizing that this was a huge mistake to do this anti-white shit, and then they're going to stop. Not even karma, it's going to be not self-preservation, but like they're just seeing like, oh, this was a bad idea for us. Like they don't even care about other people. They're just saying this is a bad idea for Jews. So let's just stop this because we're realizing, I'm saying if you believe, and if they do have this outsized whatever influence, which